Yes, people, we are back, and it is here we go season. It is kicked off. We are finally here. What's felt like it's been forever, but it's not actually been that long since the window's been open. But nonetheless, we're finally here. We have liftoff, the first signing of the INEOS era. What do we think? A striker. It is official that Joshua Xerxes, former Bologna striker. This is doing a madness again. Lovely. A bit of streamer scuff. Things you like to see. It's not a proper streamer if you don't have streamer scuff. That's a letter of the law. It happens with everybody. But nonetheless, the vibes are good here. The vibes are good. We're eating well. We're drinking well. Although I could be drinking water, which would be better for my physical health, but that's neither here nor there. We are here to enjoy the worksman, the craftsmanship of INEOS in their endeavours to assemble a team worthy of competing. And being the first summer, can't really expect us to be winning trophies galore per se, but it's the first landmark of what could be a very successful era, but it could also be the first landmark of a very tumultuous and turbulent era. Who really knows, right? But Joshua Xerxes is official. We got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, so that confirms our first signing. And what do we know about the deal? Supposedly, wages are not fully confirmed, to my knowledge. It's more like an assumption as to what the wages are, but the deal has been broken down as to how the structural payments will be going through to Bologna, which fair plays to INEOS for managing this deal, because the easy way to getting the player would have been to triggering a 34 million pound release clause / 40 million euros. That would have been the easy way, straight to the point, direct, but you pay everything up front. Now, the reports came out saying that we paid more. So I think it's like 42.5 million euros overall. And I think a lot of people thought, well, why did they do that? They're playing more. What's the point in doing that? Well, actually, the structure of that deal is that it's being paid in installments across 3 years. So actually, for acquiring the services of the player this summer, we've actually paid, try and break that down with about 42 divided by 3. Probably about 12, like 12, 13, maybe about 14. Is it about 14? Yeah, probably about 12 and a half, 13 million euros for 3 years. So, to be quite frankly honest, I think even though it's slightly more overall, we're paying for him. The fact that we've kept the spending for now this summer down to open the door of opportunity to signing other players as well, that's proper way to do business. If your budgets are tight and you need to push deals through, there's not really much wiggle room, there's not really a lot of cash to throw around or play FIFA career mode with, you're essentially hands tied for the most part. But INEOS have managed to work their way around it. I think the deal's not necessarily a 3-year contract. I think it's a little bit longer than that. The same thing will be happening with the Delict deal as well, I believe. So, but we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, man, 42.5 million euros paid in installments, keeping the cash outflow for this summer down, whilst then keeping Bologna happy, and also get a 50% overall cut of that deal as well. So maybe that 50% payoff cut from Bologna will actually help service some of the the fees we'd pay in the De Ligt deal, which, by the way, is coming along nicely. Supposedly, there was no official offer that was tabled before today. That could change. It's expected now. The sources that were saying that there was no real sort of closeness about the De Ligt deal between the two clubs are now saying that there is a closeness there, that it is literally right on right on top of the agreements, essentially between the clubs to getting this deal pushed through. So yeah, hopefully the I know it's I think it's easy to say that this here we go stuff has happened because the Netherlands are out of Euros, and I think that's probably the truth of it. Um, so yeah, I think a little bit for United's case at the very least, a blessing in disguise. Um, of course, the Xerxes deal was probably the most progressed deal, the easiest deal to do. Of course, De Ligt, got to got to break down the club resolve with Bayern, because maybe they decide that, well, actually we'll fancy keeping hold of the player, unless you pay up to this transfer fee, and maybe they do that. Maybe they don't do that. We'll have to see. I know that they're pressing for more signings of Bayern Munich, so I'd imagine selling or getting a player that you plan to get off your books originally um, essentially becomes the forefront of your priorities. So hey, maybe De Ligt's deal happens literally before this weekend. Maybe we get a here we go because things move along that quickly tomorrow. So who knows? It happens literally. England were playing 24 hours ago, and Joshua Xerxes was on the bench. Today, he's essentially flying into Manchester. He's doing all the bits he needs to do to confirm the deal and have the pictures sent out before disappearing on holiday for probably about a month. So, Man United are fast tracking this, and we can see that they're capable of fast tracking the deal. Is Xerxes even an upgrade on Højlund? I don't know, but big ups to Jaminho. Good to see you. Hope everything's well with you. Um, is he an upgrade? I wouldn't necessarily have said that he's an upgrade. I think that in terms of ability, they're about the same. Similar stages of their career, although I think Xerxes probably got a few years of experience on Højlund. But one thing that I can appreciate about Xerxes is that he's essentially a different type of striker. Though the stature and build are relatively similar, how each player plays their game in the number 9 role. I mean, Højlund's much more centric and target man running behind with pace. Xerxes essentially more of the guy that plays further deep, like a little bit deeper, closer to his teammates in the midfield or in the other attacking positions. So he's more, I'd say, mobile in a number 10 forwards into a number 9 position. So it introduces various options to different game plans up top. So you know what, I think having the alternative, and that's essentially what we've done, is we've signed an alternative to Rasmus Højlund, and that provides you with depth. It's not just plan A and you hope that plan A can get the job done for you. We have a plan B. We've just signed a plan B. Now, whether it's good enough quality, I think is remaining to be seen. I don't necessarily think he's that great of a player, though he's 23. He's got a few years left really to sort of irk more quality out of him, or to improve his level, to grow as a player, to fill himself out a little bit. But I think there's lots of positives there. There are lots of positives, and I think how we've gone about doing the deal as well, how all the clubs conducted itself, massively different compared to what we would have had if John Murtagh was trying to work a deal. So yeah, but it is what it is with that. But thankfully, this it brings a bit of sense of excitement as well. So do you know what? Even if it's not necessarily the dream player that we all want as Man United fans, it's watching the deal happen I think we're all coming to appreciate that this is definitely a different approach that we've taken, and one that first and foremost saves us money, whilst attaining players that the manager wants, what he needs, what the team needs, what the squad needs, and alternatively, another thing as well, it's a surefire whole heck of a lot better signing a player who's got plenty more years and more contracts down the line than it is signing a player that's coming sort of down on the downwards trajectory of their career for the sake of signing a player with good media outreach. We've identified a second striker for a younger strike force or a younger profile of team. So it's becoming clear and apparent what the idea here is, that we're prioritizing putting players that want to grow into the team and essentially become, proper like top upper echelons of quality, and that we're introducing a coaching setup that works with that specific or does good work with that type with players in that stage of their career. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. And it wasn't just Xerxes, by the way, that was confirmed as here we go, if you want to say that. You've also then got the likes of the two new coaching additions in Ruud van Nistelrooy and Rene Heck. So the former PSV and Go Ahead Eagles management now deciding that, we'll, instead of staying on at our clubs as number one, we're going to essentially play as the assistant management to Eric Ten Hag in his process. And maybe Ten Hag, for what we see of how we like to play football last season, or how Man United were playing football last season, maybe this is a statement, a clear indictment to statement that, yes, this pre-season, I want us to be trying to play something different. We cannot be playing like what we did last season. So the approach, tactically, the approach is probably going to change, because that's the only real explanation for a coach to sit there and say, yes, get me this guy, and this guy to serve as my coaching team. And then this person, you're free to leave. And then these other two guys, like, can we please get rid of them? So, Mitchell van der Gaag, best wishes, good luck to you in the future. He's departed the club today with the intent to go and focus on becoming first team manager for another club around Europe. And what, best wishes to him. Best of luck. Be interesting to see what his next project is. And do you know what? Just as a quick side note, it's a little bit funny, just a little bit funny, seeing the meltdown with some of the Ajax fans, proper pro Ajax fans, after securing a new goalkeeping coach. And then Man United, after a couple of months, come along, was just like, we know you've signed this contract with Ajax, right? But do you fancy coming to Man United? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. It's like scoring. It's like scoring yourself, one of the best looking chicks at a nightclub, taking her home, right? But you're just about to reach the door, right? And you think you're in for the night of your life. You get to the door, and then an even better looking guy just comes along and it's just like, no, I think you should come with me. And then she's like, yeah, I think I should go with you. And then you're left stranded, in a corner of the nightclub, no bitches, and some shrooms, little shrooms just growing next to your feet, dusted corner of a nightclub. Your proper catch of the evening's gone, and your dignity and pride with it. That's kind of how Ajax fans feel about us poaching the goalkeeping coach at the moment. So, yeah, not necessarily in the best graces at the moment. United are looking a bit dangerous at the moment. They're starting to worry me a bit. Do you mean it's only the beginning? It's only the beginning. This is with us operating with next to no wiggle room on budgeting. If we can clear that up, if we're clearing that up, it unleashes freedom of expenditure. So we can start to push for bigger names. Because literally financially at the moment, we are so screwed up, in accordance to FFP or, profit and sustainability rules. We're not really cut out for, throwing money at people yet. We're not necessarily ready or allowed to be sort of spending free willy nilly, the ways in which we were doing before. You had the freedom back then, spent the money stupidly, and now you're paying the price for it. So I think again, we posted like £70 million loss on the finance sheets as well. Big record revenues, but still posted a loss. Now I'm hoping that with newfound resurgence, big job cuts right the way across the board, the wage bill's going down, which, by the way, think of it like this. Xerxes might not be your number one go-to choice striker, right? He might not be that choice of striker. But let me tell you what you've replaced with this guy, yeah? So Xerxes comes in about 36 million pounds, paid across 3 years of installments. I think rumoured wage is about 100,000 a week. Direct replacement to Anthony Martial, somebody who failed to play once last season. Well, I think he might have played a couple of times, but you get my drift, right? He was on 200 plus thousand a week. We've cut the striker alternative wage bill down by over 100,000 a week. You've cut Anthony Martial in half and improved his injury record tenfold. Sounds like on the data sheets we've upgraded, to be quite frankly honest. So if that's what fixing the wage bills is going to result in, then please give me more of it. Donny van der Beek leaving the club for about 600k. I think he was on about, what was it, 140 plus, 150 plus thousand a week. Actually, let me that's not what I wanted. Let me get his wages. So his wages, Jesus Christ. So yeah, about 120,000 or 140,000 pounds per week, supposedly. So somewhere in sort of like low to mid 100,000s, right? You've just cleared that off of your wage bill. Again, somebody who's just not playing for the club. Replace that with somebody of about a similar wages, but somebody who's going to be impactful to the squad, who's going to play a lot. It's practical. It's practicality with the money. And that's excluding all the other deals, the other kind of deals, the types of deals that we'll end up doing this summer, because there's a lot of players right now that will probably end up signing across July, August that we are not directly linked to yet. And this is what's the mystique of this summer transfer window. There's that many players that we could end up signing, and we've just not, we've probably got them jotted down, listed up, and the second we get the number one targets done and signed and secured, and we've got the priority sales done and out the way, then we can jump onto those players, and then we get a whole new plethora, a whole new wave of transfer stories, because that's what happened with this at the start of the summer. We've got loads of names: Xerxes, De Ligt, Agate, Neves, Lenny Yoro, Branthwaite, Todibo, Sesko, like a whole host of names, literally a huge amount of names, Michael Elise as well. All of them, we were talking to every single one. We were making inroads on every single front. So what happens is when you clear that board up, hey, there's loads of space for us to start negotiating with a load of other people as well. And we've got XYZ amount of budgets is still within reasonable room to spend. And that's what I'm looking forward to. It may have started slow. We may have got a little bit, staggered start off the line because the priority signings would have had other, commitments elsewhere. But ultimately, we're getting to the point now where it's like, well, these commitments aren't a feat anymore. So, we can really push. Branthwaite, I don't think we are signing Branthwaite. Although, that being said, no Branthwaite signing, I don't think we are going to end up signing it, by the way. There's such clear intent that we wanted Branthwaite because we put 2 quick-fire bids in. Everton rejected both of them because they want stupid money. And Man United will sign Branthwaite if Everton form a compromise, but Everton are an English club. They won't want to strengthen Manchester United under any circumstance. So we could technically do what Real Madrid is doing to Lenny Yoro at the moment, because they don't want to pay excessive fees to Lille, and Yoro probably wants to move to Real Madrid. Branthwaite probably wants to move to Man United. What do you do if you don't want anybody else? Just stay at your club, move next summer, and raise hell if you have to, but make it very clear and obvious. Well, yeah, I'm staying this season, but next summer I'm going. So I'm out the door. My commitment will change. And that at least Everton, or clubs like that, can plan ahead and sort out the replacements. But it also guarantees our business moving forwards as well. So if you can get players wanting that, then I think you're looking neat and tidy. It's actually a shock seeing United making good moves, getting rid of Martial, bringing in Xerxes. It was good business. Unfortunately, with the Martial thing, we couldn't conduct any transfer business. We had to let him go on a free because no one would want to pay a transfer fee for Anthony Martial, so it had to be let go on the free. 50 million. I know the song says 50 million down the drain, Anthony Martial scores again, but yeah, to be honest, 50 million pounds of transfer fee down the drain. But in essence, on the wage side of things, the business that we have done in getting that wage off, those wages off your bill, but your replacement earns half that amount and would probably have a similar, if not better, impact in the team, whilst not having the same injury record, a much, much, much better injury record, I should say, is it supersedes itself. So, I'm happy with that. I'm genuinely happy with that. Bologna are selling both Xerxes and Calafiori, and there's 50% sell-on clauses on both, so they're only getting half price for both. Yeah, they're only getting half price for both, and I suppose that's the thing about Italian clubs, unless you're like an Atalanta or a Torino or something like that. I think some clubs will know when they can fleece a club. I think some will know. It's like, for instance, like if it was 50 million pounds or euros that's Bologna want for Calafiori. Correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially some clubs will take a player that they will say, yeah, no, he's for sale. He's for sale. Clubs will start circling, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, let's talk. If they know a club's got money to spend, money to burn, they'll say, well, yeah, here you go, you can buy him, £50 million, he's yours. And the club go, whoa, £50 million, he's not worth that. Well, obviously we know he's not worth that, but that's what we want for him. So I don't know. with the Calafiori. Um, I'm sure Arsenal may end up signing him because making this much of a song and dance about a player in one's fan base, you know, I think it'll be. I think it would just be tragic comedy um, if it ends up not happening. It's like, for instance, say, for example, AFTV releasing a Thomas Partey dance video, and then you find out literally like a couple of hours after the music video goes out that Thomas Partey rejected Arsenal and staying at Atletico Madrid. So I think, as far as Arsenal are concerned, with the Calafiori signing, if they, for me, they've got to do something decisive with it. Whether signing him is the right move, or prioritizing other targets, like for example, your number 9 target. Where's that? Yeah, where's your number 9 target? And the thing is that people say, well, we've got Kai Havertz. Why do we need to sign a number 9? And I'm just thinking, why wouldn't you? Sir Alex Ferguson's last Man United team, right, had 4 strikers. 4 strikers. You had Robin van Persie, Wayne Rooney, Chicharito Hernandez, and Danny Welbeck. 4 choice of strikers, and he had some other youth players that can come in and play back up to them. But everyone's obsessed with playing threadbare squads. With Man United, we've only got, again, 2 strikers. I don't necessarily agree with the concept of having a threadbare squad, which is why I'm hoping that whilst we do great business this summer to plug the holes that we need plugging, or to rip out the weeds and stick in the fresh plants and water it and watch that grow, but that across the coming years we add depth to it. Whilst the first setup is great and it's growing together, you're adding some quality into it as you go through, and you build the depth underneath it, and essentially then you start the cycle where you get to the point you start recycling, and whatever was in your first team picture essentially goes out the door, but then the perfect replacement's there, and you never really drop the levels. You don't need to go through major rebuilds. You're just recycling your squad as you go on, and I think that's probably that's essentially the fundamental process that I hope that Manchester United get into the habit of doing, because that's the best way that you can say, well, Man United become the Real Madrid of England. Just absolutely dominate, and you can't knock them down, because the way that they go about keeping themselves on the top is undeniable. So, yeah, there's still plenty of work that INEOS need to do, but seeing what we've seen so far, it does show for some good reading. The fact that Bayern treated Xerxes as the football equivalent of an expired McFlurry, and they were willing to bin him off, keep Choupo-Moting instead of him, doesn't give me positive vibes. I think at the same time, they stick a 50% sell-on clause onto Xerxes. So they know right now he's not it for us. He just isn't. And we can't be patient with waiting for him to get good. So if he goes away to one of these smaller clubs and gets better, right, we can only win if another club comes in for him. It's like with what they're trying to do with what Man United are trying to do with Mason Greenwood. Again, a 50% selling clause. We know that he's not going to be able to play in this culture again. So stick a fat sell-on clause, sell him perhaps a little bit cheaper off to another club, and then if a big giant comes in and signs him a year, 2 years, 3 years later, well, Man United, we're doing our own thing, and out of nowhere, we just get cash raining in on us. So we can only win that way. So Xerxes at the time, and this is like I've I paid, acknowledgement to this, that I believed, and I've called him this, is he looked like he was a bit more of a journeyman striker. That he goes from club to club. So I don't know if this is going to continue being a feat with Manchester United. Maybe it does, because it might not work out, the signing. It may not work out, and so that's something that we can't disregard. Um, but I just think the way that the sort of deal that it is, and the way that we've gone about it, we've essentially signed, Xerxes. We've essentially signed Xerxes for probably less than £15 million. So yeah, so for me, I think as it stands, that's good business. I genuinely do think it's good business, even if it's not the right sort of player. I think you sign Xerxes, that's the way to sign him. You spent £15 million on Xerxes, he's going to feature. Whether he turns out to be a good acquisition or not, at least you'll know. If he's not going to be the right sort of signing, hey, guess what? Easy to sell. Very easy to sell. So, but we'll cross that bridge, I think, when we'll get to it. Big ups to Oregon Guna. How are we doing? We're not getting Calafiori. To be honest, I don't really know with Arsenal. I don't know, because nobody really knows what Arsenal actually want, which is a strange thing. It genuinely is strange from a Man United perspective, looking from the outside looking in. I can't tell really, really, like, distinctively who Arsenal really want, because usually you can tell when a club is desperate for somebody. I don't know who Arsenal want. I really don't. So maybe it is just my ignorance to it. Maybe there is somebody that Arsenal really want, and I've just not studied on it. But yeah, it's just really peculiar. And if you're an Arsenal fan looking at Manchester United, by the time you really sort of get a unique, signing for your first team, by the time that happens, Man United could have signed 3 or 4 players that are going to walk into the first team. Arsenal's only permanent signing thus far is buying off the back of a loan deal. The buy clause for a loan deal, like, that's it's business, but it's not season defining business. And what follows up from that? Apparently, what was it? Dan Bentley, I think it's Dan Bentley, another goalkeeping target. I'm thinking, what's the deal with the goalkeeping targets? I know that Aaron Ramsdale's probably heading out the door, but still, goalkeeping targets. You desperately need a striker. Could do with an attacking presence for depth to play out wide. Eze's on the market. Palace might have to. Palace might take you for clowns and try to fleece you. But at least with Eze, it provides you guys with great alternative in creativity. And if Havertz is going to be that number 9 for you next season, having Eze in the team as an extra outlet for creativity, somebody to come off the bench, so you're not necessarily just subbing like for like every single game, week in, week out. You can add a little bit of spice of unpredictability. So I think for me, Eze is an absolute no-brainer. Would have been the same story with Michael Elise. So I mean, Arsenal, you guys have got to wake up. Big up Fars, a big up to Stephanie Griffith. How are we doing? Hope all is well with you. 6 likes, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Things we like to see. Big thank yous to everybody that is hitting the likes, and please continue the trends. Xerxes will be the catalyst for our attack next season. A great signing. I think no. I look at the signing and I categorize it as this. It's not a great signing for the for the player himself, right? The ability, I wouldn't have said fantastic signing. I do believe the business behind it and how we've conducted the signing is the best way to do it. The best way to do it. You've literally saved that much money this summer with how that deal's been negotiated. That's a lot of money that can go towards another signing. A lot of money. And because we can use that money really, really well, your money, you probably won't be able to outright, well, they could have outright paid. But if you're in a tight situation where there's £20 million left on the budget, you could say to a club, well, you have £60 million package deal, will guarantee, will pay in full £60 million to you across 3 years, £20 million per year, right? Fixed fees paid in on this month annually for the next 3 years. And if they agree to it, shake the hands. You've just signed a player, package deal 60 million, but you're paying 20 million that summer. But if you're paying up front in, bulk sum of cash, they would have told you to have taken a hike. Go take a walk. We're not entertaining that. And it's, which means that the negotiation at the top is substantially improved, ridiculously improved. Like, realistically, would John Murta or Richard Arnold taking holidays out to Spain, sunny weekend getaways in Barcelona, trying to negotiate for Frankie de Jong and, whipping out the big guns? Yeah, we'll show our prowess in the market that way. Oh, fucker. These new guys have just waltzed into Bologna and signed a player with package instalments for 3 years for about less than £50 million per season. They've literally they've negotiated more for one signing and actually benefited the club financially for one signing more so than Manchester United has done for the past 10 years combined. We've not negotiated this much on one single transfer target that's actually benefited us. It's already changed, guys. There's already change. It's factually evident. It's there. We know that this is not just it's not just talking the talk. There is walking the walk here with INEOS. So how far this goes and how far this takes us, I think we've yet to see. We've yet to see just how far this will go. But if you had to pick a place to start, this is the perfect place to start. Now, hopefully, De Ligt, you're up next, son. Hopefully, we'll see you coming in probably in the next. Now, they say the deal could be at the status of here we go as early as next week. Could happen tomorrow because Man United, they are pushing. They are pushing to get this deal done and then straight on to Agate. Agate a little bit more difficult to do because he's still got international duty. Uruguay out against Colombia, I think it was. So Colombia went into the finals, but they've got a third place playoff out in Copa America, which I think is against Brazil. So they've got another game to play. Actually, is it Brazil or is it somebody else? I think it's somebody else. I think Uruguay actually knocked Brazil out the previous round. But yeah. So Agate, if the club are serious about doing that signing, that deal will do itself once the time is right. Like we've seen it now, it's evidently proven with Xerxes, and supposedly in time with Matthias de Ligt. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. I'm looking forward to the next, run up to the weekend and into next week. It's all positive signs. We've got pre-season training going on at the moment. Everybody at Carrington is seemingly absolutely loving life at the moment. For some reason, some of those players that are training, they're just like, yeah, I love life, even though they know full well that they're probably going to get sold further in the window, because there's only so much business you can do at the exact same time, right? And I think a lot of players would have had the talkings to, would have been sat down and said, look, you're not in the plans for next season. We're going to do this business first, and then we're going to work on getting you a club, right? We're going to work on getting you out the door and secure you a signing to a proper club, and we're going to try and make as much money from you as possible. So yeah, I think there's lots of work, lots and lots of work to do, but kick back and relax, Man United fans, because it's all going to start flow. It's already flowing. It is already flowing. The rivers are flowing. The juices are flowing. I should say the juices are flowing. I was thinking of something else then with the rivers, but never mind. But yes, 100%. Any updates? Any updates? Welcome to Manchester United, of course, is trending. So yeah, Chris Wheeler again confirming Xerxes is flying to Manchester tonight. He's doing his medical tomorrow, is Joshua Xerxes. It could be a case where he's walking out of the medical centre and de Ligt's walking in the other way. He's just like, hey, you swear I saw you on the bench 48 hours ago. There's a bit of Arsenal business for you, if any of you Arsenal are in the chat. That's Albert Sambi the Conga to Sevilla. Is here we go. It's a loan deal, a loan move to Sevilla with Sevilla will cover the salary, and there's a 12 million euro buy option. A medical is already booked. The Arsenal Times first comment here. Option to buy. Edu can't handle player sales. Yeah, facts. Absolute facts. But anyways, guys, I think that pretty much covers what we were wanting to talk about today. Lenny Yoro, man, the other centre-back target, still not committed to the Real Madrid dream. Like, man's thinking about it. I genuinely think the fact that Man United have tabled a realistic offer, or not so much realistic, but a bit more of a lucrative offer to Lille, and Lille have accepted it, as a proposal, so they know what it would take to sign him. The fact that Yoro's not just gone, nah, man, clear off Manchester Reds. I want Galacticos. He's not committed. He's not thrown his hat in the ring here. Like, man's thinking about it. Like, he knows something's cooking. Something's cooking. He could either move to Man United this summer, or Real Madrid are prepared to wait until next summer, and he can just sit still in Lille for another season. And both could work out nicely for him. Both could work out very nicely for him. But yeah, the fact is, he's got food for thought. He has got food for thought. So you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing how this all breaks down. Seeing us go toe to toe with Real Madrid in the market after finishing 8th place. A finished club. We're dead, but we're going toe to toe with Real Madrid in the market. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. It's everybody that has tuned in. A little bit shorter today, but I wanted to cover the main headline story for today, which is the Here We Go's given for Joshua Zirkzee. Flying in tonight, medical tomorrow, pictures to follow, official announcement, I'd reckon. Might not be tomorrow, probably will be over the weekend though. And hopefully we get follow-ups on that from Matthias de Ligt and maybe a couple of others. Watch the space and keep your eyes peeled. Most importantly, make sure you are subbed to the channel. That notification bell is switched on, so when I hit that live, you are entertained for an hour or less or more. Thanks for watching. We'll speak to you soon. Take care. Goodbye.